You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for joining us this Monday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's a look at some of our news headlines this morning. A federal judge has blocked the deployment of California's National Guard or any National Guard troops to Oregon. That ruling comes after President Trump ordered the troops to Portland to protect what he calls a, quote, war-ravaged city. The day before that ruling, the same Trump-appointed judge blocked Trump from using Oregon's National Guard. Portland's mayor and the state's governor, both Democrats, maintain the city is safe. The White House hasn't commented yet on the judge's decision. This week marks the beginning of the annual Fleet Week in San Francisco, and things are looking a little different this year. Still not clear right now if the Blue Angels might fly this weekend, but it is certainly looking unlikely. Same with naval ships, but there are still plenty of other shows and performances happening around San Francisco. The Canadian Snowbirds are going to arrive later this week with 9 turbojets to take over the skies. The Patriots jet team will also take flight, as well as the United Airlines 777, and naval ships from Canada and Colombia will be stationed at the piers and welcoming visitors to tour. Early voting begins today for the state's special election on Prop 50. If it passes, it would redraw some California congressional districts to favor Democrats. The measure aims to counter redistricting efforts in Texas that give Republicans more seats in the House. Prop 50 is the only issue on the ballot for that special election. All right, let's get a check on our first alert forecast as we start off another week of work and school. Warm and sunny skies around the Bay Area. This is a look outside from our Mark Hopkins hotel camera in San Francisco. Meteorologist Jessica Birch tracking when things are going to cool down.
Warm weather is on tap for us as we head into the afternoon hours today everywhere throughout the Bay. From the Santa Clara Valley stretched all the way up into wine country. Let's head over into places like Napa. This afternoon we have 80s in store for us just in time for harvest. It's nice and warm today and tomorrow, and we're continuing that trend to kick off the week. But we have a big cool down around the corner for places like the East Bay, stretched all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley as we head into the rest of this week's forecast. We'll be back down to the 70s right around the corner. It'll feel nice and cool, and I'll talk more about that coming up in just a bit for why that's even happening. But you take a look at some other things going on as we head outside today and tomorrow. We're waking up this morning to some strong winds pushing offshore. That drops the relative humidity. It gives us clear skies, some warmer weather too that we're keeping a close eye on as we head into the afternoon hours near Half Moon Bay and San Francisco. I mean, we're talking about 80s today in the city of San Francisco, matched up with our friends in our inland spots, anywhere from the North Bay down into the Santa Clara Valley. Now, those winds pushing offshore, they start to change directions. We'll start to see stronger onshore winds into the evening hours tonight, and this is good news for us, actually. We'll see a little bit higher relative humidity right around the corner, and then to add to that, as we keep a close eye on daytime highs, yes, it's a warm day today and tomorrow, but it'll feel a lot cooler and a lot more fall-like right around the corner as we head into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with 70s returning into our inland spots. We'll also hold on tight to some cooler weather along the coast too with cloudier skies. There's a chance for some unsettled weather as we wrap up this week. That's the reason why we're seeing partly cloudy skies. A good chance we could see some light mist pushing in the North Bay too. We'll monitor that closely as we wrap up this week with those models updating daily. Back to you.
Today is the 6th day of the government shutdown. Both Republicans and Democrats are back on the Hill today to try to find a consensus. Leaders on both sides have not budged so far. Democratic leaders pointing the finger at Republicans for failing to negotiate as they push for extending enhanced health care tax credits. The White House and Republican leaders insist Democrats reopen the government first before tackling health care. If negotiations remained at a standstill, President Trump insists that he is prepared to move forward with mass layoffs. Meantime, here at home, parts of Fleet Week feel frozen. The Blue Angels likely will not fly in this weekend's air show, and there are question marks in the sky and on the water about exactly what will happen. Our Veronica Macias is in San Francisco with a look at the impacts.
With the government shutdown now entering its second week, we are getting a better idea of what Fleet Week will look like here in San Francisco. The Blue Angels grounded for now, but not canceled. Still, we're told there is a lot to do and a lot to see from organizers of Fleet Week, starting with the swearing-in ceremony happening later this morning. Mayor Daniel Lurie is going to be presiding over 90 recruits who will be here to take the oath to serve the U.S., to protect and serve their country. The swearing-in ceremony starts at 10 a.m. Then later on Wednesday, there's the official news conference for the celebration of Fleet Week over at Fisherman's Wharf in partnership between the city and the armed forces, of course. You have the neighborhood bands that are a no-go for today and tomorrow. However, concerts are expected to start on Wednesday. Those are still on schedule. The San Francisco Fleet Week Association wants people to know there is still an incredible lineup as our city welcomes all the sailors and service members to take in the beautiful landmarks around San Francisco. So who's in the lineup? San Francisco is welcoming naval ships from both Canada and Colombia, replacing the absence of the Blue Angels. The Canadian Snowbirds, they're arriving later this week. The military aerobatics team flies 9 turbojets during performances, with speeds topping 350 miles an hour. In some formations, the jets are less than 6 feet apart. Then you have the Patriots jet team. They're flying private jets and carrying out impressive maneuvers in the sky. A Royal Canadian Navy coastal defense vessel is going to be open to the public for tours at Pier 19 starting at 9 a.m. Sunday. That's the Nanaimo making a final journey along the west coast of North America and soon will continue through Central America into the Panama Canal, then going to its final destination on the east coast of Canada. And to celebrate our friendship with Latin America, sitting in the bay is the triple-mast flagship of the Colombian Navy arriving on Thursday. That is Arc Gloria. This ship is available to tour at Pier 15 and 17 starting at 2 p.m. Thursday and again over the weekend starting at 9 a.m. And then lastly, you have the United Airlines 777 coming this weekend. So a lot to do. And again, it all kicks off here at the Veterans Memorial with Mayor Daniel Lurie swearing in 90 recruits.
And while it is still unclear whether the U.S. Navy will be able to send its ships or if the Blue Angels are going to be flying in the skies, there will be plenty of other sights to see at Fleet Week. The Ace Maker T-33 set to pull off some aerial acrobatics and loop across the sky. Our own Jessica Birch got the chance to thrill ride back in 2022. The potential for the Blue Angels to be grounded has some waterfront businesses disappointed. Usually around this time, businesses stock up and hire extra staffing to prepare for bigger crowds. They rely heavily on tourists, and without the Blue Angels, some say they might have to cancel those plans.
Fleet Week is one of the biggest weekends of the year for us. We see the most tourists, most business. We sell the most. Yeah, a little disappointing. We're hoping to see a really big turnout and hoping it still happens, but with scale back, it might not.
But some business owners are still optimistic about the weekend.
Foot traffic might be slightly less because there's no Blue Angels, but we're still planning and anticipating a very strong weekend, and we're not changing any operations, scheduling, purchasing because the Blue Angels aren't flying. We're going full steam ahead.
Organizers say the 3-day military celebration usually draws tens of thousands of visitors to the San Francisco waterfront. And CBS News Bay Area is your official home for Fleet Week coverage, come what may. We're going to have continuing coverage throughout the week on kpix.com and streaming on the free CBS News app. As the federal government shutdown hits day 6, a new CBS News poll shows that many Americans are concerned about its effect on our economy. 49% say they are very concerned. Another 31% say they are somewhat concerned. Those surveyed say the most important issues facing the country right now are the economy, jobs, and inflation. A majority of respondents disapprove of the way President Trump, congressional Republicans, and Democrats in Congress have handled the shutdown. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, a major development with dozens of homes planned in the East Bay Hills. Why critics say it could be a dangerous move.
With more cars on the street, the problem is this is an emergency evacuation route.
Plus, new protections for Uber and Lyft drivers here in California. Details of the new law allowing them to form unions, and why some drivers say it's still not enough.
What if we enter negotiation and the algorithm suddenly changes? Nobody's had to deal with algorithmic employment before in a union contract negotiation.
We're kicking off this week nice and warm with sunnier skies, clear conditions widespread throughout the Bay Area. Now, heading into the next couple days, we start to see some changes. Tomorrow, high pressure continues to move in just a little bit more, and that's going to warm us up into the 90s in our inland spots. That's the warmest it'll be all week long, because then low pressure starts moving in. That cools us right back down to the 70s. It'll feel like fall as we wrap up this week, heading into this weekend with a little bit more sunshine for Friday, partly cloudy skies Saturday, just in time for Fleet Week. It's going to feel a lot cooler and beautiful as we head into this weekend.
The plan to build a new housing development in the East Bay is sparking concerns about traffic and safety on an already busy road. The 199-unit project is planned for Moraga Avenue between Oakland and Piedmont. As Kara St. Cyr tells us, some neighbors are sounding the alarm over wildfires and evacuation routes.
I think this is probably a good spot here.
Peggy Esposito and her neighbors are lining the streets with these signs.
We started putting up the signs about 3 weeks ago.
An act of protest against a city council vote to build housing along Moraga Avenue.
So we're going to be crossing here and now.
A busy street connecting Oakland and Piedmont.
The traffic gets worse and worse.
Peggy doesn't think the plan is safe.
With more cars on the street, the problem is this is an emergency evacuation route. And in the event of a fire, you can imagine everybody pouring down from all the side streets to escape the fire.
The housing proposal is part of the Moraga Canyon Specific Plan. It would allow up to 199 units along the street, with 60 slated for affordable housing. Piedmont's Planning Commission introduced the project to comply with California's housing mandate. But Peggy says the commission didn't consider people who live nearby.
And Piedmont has never produced a diagram like this to show just how dense it's going to be.
Well, the Piedmont Fire Department has been part of the conversation and the planning process from day one, and their determination is that the specific plan would improve safety.
Kevin Jackson, Piedmont's Director of Planning and Building, says the development would keep evacuation routes intact and add traffic lights to slow drivers.
So here's at a wider section in the roadway where there's even room for sidewalks on both sides, as well as a planter strip for street trees, so improvements there.
But ultimately, a developer would decide how to bring these concepts to life. The specific plan is just a framework.
Piedmont wants to be welcoming to new families, and we hope this plan helps achieve that.
Peggy says she would consider more housing if the number of units was reduced.
Back down to the 133.
But she still doesn't think the new safety measures will help, so she's adding more signs to garner support.
How about if we put it in here?
Her last line of defense.
Well, the city council's vote is the last step before finding a developer. That vote could happen as soon as today. San Francisco is gearing up for Dreamforce coming into town next week. The event doesn't start until next Tuesday, October 14th. But our chopper spotted this Welcome to Dreamforce sign already up at Moscone Center. The annual convention brings tens of thousands of people to the city. And here's a look at some of the planned street closures. The one at Howard and 3rd is already in effect. Muni service will not be affected. 2 Bay Area tech companies joining forces in the artificial intelligence race. Santa Clara-based chip maker AMD says it'll supply chips to San Francisco-based OpenAI. That deal could bring in tens of billions of dollars in annual revenue. It could also see Sam Altman's company take a 10% stake in AMD. The 5-year agreement will challenge NVIDIA's market dominance. AMD stock jumped more than 25% during pre-market trading following that announcement. Rideshare drivers here in California now have the ability to form unions and negotiate contracts. But some drivers we spoke with say that still does not go far enough. This all comes after Governor Newsom signed a new law Friday that allows gig workers to collectively bargain for better pay and benefits. The measure requires app-based transportation companies like Uber and Lyft to negotiate in good faith. Amanda Harry spoke with the driver about what that means and what it might have missed.
More than a decade ago, Jason Munderloh made a change. He left his biomedical research job and started driving people around San Francisco.
The pay was pretty good early on.
At first, he loved being a driver for rideshare apps like Lyft and Uber.
The advantages were, it's an exciting job potentially. You know, you get to see the city, get to meet a lot of people, you know, and if the pay is good, and we have real support and dignity for drivers, it can be a great job, you know, and it was at one point. You have to be able to drive when people need rides.
Things changed, especially during the pandemic, when less people were using the apps.
That's the way it was. A bus got delayed because of it, all kinds of stuff.
Usage has picked up, but their pay is still lagging behind what it used to be for many rides. Munderloh adds Prop 22, which was passed in 2020, has also made things more difficult. It classifies drivers as independent contractors. They don't get full employee protections like overtime, paid sick leave, or unemployment insurance. But Friday, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a new bill giving drivers the right to create a first union contract and requires the companies to negotiate in good faith over issues such as driver deactivation, paid leave, and earnings.
A union potentially gives us the right to organize and bargain collectively, something we haven't had before. It's every driver for themselves. As things are now, fight is ahead of us. We're really going to have to put our backs into it.
But he admits the legislation isn't perfect.
The bill had some flaws. Looking more into it, my organization, Braiders Drivers United, identified 7 places that the bill should be changed to protect, for example, what our wages are during negotiation. You know, what if we enter negotiation and the algorithm suddenly changes and they're not paying us very well? You know, that's really, nobody's had to deal with algorithmic employment before in a union contract negotiation.
He explains that they're in uncharted territory and there's no language in the bill that promises a living wage.
We are some of the first workers that are being affected by AI. You know, the algorithm that they have will basically try to find the person who is willing to take the ride for the cheapest, maybe the most desperate person, and give a ride to that person, undercutting everybody else. So we're really facing AI and algorithmic discrimination in a way that nobody has.
In a statement, the director of public policy at Lyft, Nick Johnson, was in support of the legislation, saying, quote, "This deal is a major victory for both riders and drivers in California." As part of the agreement, Newsom also signed a second bill, which will drastically reduce insurance coverage requirements for the ride-hailing companies. But Munderloh says there's more work to be done. The drivers still need to come together to form the union and put the right people in place to negotiate for better working conditions.
The future of rideshare really depends on drivers themselves, you know, and we know that the city doesn't function without us. We know we're essential workers. It's just a matter of us coming together, being organized, and standing up for ourselves.
Now, it is important to note, again, the new law does not cancel Prop 22, which Amanda mentioned. That's what California voters approved in 2020, which allows companies like Uber and Lyft to classify their workers as independent contractors instead of employees. So that means they're not automatically eligible for overtime pay, unemployment insurance, or workers' comp. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, we have learned how many speeding tickets have been issued in San Francisco ever since those new speed cameras were installed. A closer look at the numbers, and are drivers actually slowing down?
Warmer weather, stronger winds into this afternoon, actually, in places like Half Moon Bay. Currently, we're dealing with winds pushing offshore. That dries us up. It warms us up a little bit more, too. Relative humidity drops, but we'll start to get that Pacific breeze into the afternoon hours today from Half Moon Bay into places like the Golden Gate Bridge across San Francisco, where we can see winds starting to kick up a bit more. It'll feel a little bit more moist into the evening hours tonight. And I think that's important to note because as we continue to warm up, we want to see that Pacific breeze stick around for us. By Wednesday and Thursday, suddenly we're talking about clouds returning into the forecast, especially in the early morning hours. So foggy starts to the morning, partly cloudy skies into the afternoon. Cooler weather as we get closer to Fleet Week as well. And then you make your way over into our inland spots. We're not done warming up just yet. Tomorrow's going to be even warmer than today. 90s in the forecast on tap for us, sunny skies, and then low pressure dips in. We cool down quick. 70s around the corner from Wednesday into Thursday. That's going to stick around for us as we head into this weekend's forecast with on and off partly cloudy skies right around the corner too.
And the first supermoon of the year is going to shine bright tonight, and it's just the beginning. It's one of 3 in 2025. It's going to appear up to 14% bigger and 30% brighter as it passes closer to Earth. You don't need a telescope, just fairly clear skies to see it. The next supermoons are happening in November and in December. We are getting our first snapshot of how San Francisco's speed cameras are working since the city started issuing fines. Those cameras went live in the spring across the city, but then August was the first month that drivers started actually getting citations. And during that month, officials say the cameras sent out more than 16,000 tickets. So are they actually getting people to slow down? We asked our Brad Hamilton to take a closer look at the numbers and how the cameras are impacting driver behavior.
Speed might be an asset for Mercedes Oakland when she's on the pickleball court. But she's slowing down when she passes the camera that's clocking drivers right by her park in Crocker, Amazon.
Yes, we notice the speed cameras because we get notices at our houses that we've been warned. And then once you know where the camera is, I do feel like there's a change in speed.
Mercedes admits that she's been caught by the camera. She wouldn't tell us how many times, but the city says it's been the biggest change in driver behavior since cameras went up in this neighborhood.
What we are seeing at this specific intersection is a reduction in 92% of how many people are speeding through this area.
That is Victoria Wise, the director of streets for San Francisco's Municipal Transportation Agency. In August alone, she says their speed cameras caught over 16,000 drivers going too fast. If all fines were collected, that'd be over $1 million for 1 month. But Victoria is quick to point out it's not about the money for them.
We have seen people slowing down significantly. And by the way, folks that have had 1 citation or 1 warning, they are not repeat offenders. So they're learning from this, which was the exact point of the program.
So, how does this program work? Your first violation gets you a warning. After that, the ticket hits your mailbox with a fine. The amount depends on how fast you were going. Altogether, the city has 56 cameras set up in 33 different areas considered hotspots, and no spot is hotter than the one on Bryant Street between 2nd and 3rd. And why? Victoria says its close proximity to the freeway means more unfamiliar drivers.
We are seeing reductions in those areas as well, and we are treating them the same way where we're putting up more signs, more warnings so people know that they're entering a high-speed corridor.
SFMTA says about 20% of citations on Bryant Street were from people going 16 miles an hour or more over the speed limit. And back in Crocker, Amazon, people like Mercedes have bought in.
I think they should probably have more of them, certainly around schools.
A game with friends means a walk to the park. For Mercedes, that feels a lot safer now. And if it takes a camera to keep it that way, she says it's a small price to pay.
Well, city officials say they are keeping an eye on the data, and if this trend holds, cameras could be moved to other hotspots in the future. The city of San Jose recently followed suit, installing red light cameras last week at 4 high-traffic intersections around the city. You can see where they're on your screen. The city says drivers will get a citation for failing to stop or rolling through a red light. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, some local businesses flexing their muscles to fight a new neighbor. Why this community is pushing back against Pilates.
Your community, your news, powered by KPIX. CBS News Bay Area. Watch anywhere, anytime. Stay informed and connected. Trusted local news when you want it. CBS News Bay Area. Watch free on any device. You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for being with us this Monday. I'm Ann Makovic. Here's a look at some of our news headlines. Today, a federal judge has blocked the deployment of California's National Guard or any National Guard troops to Oregon. That ruling comes after President Trump ordered the troops to Portland to protect what he calls a, quote, war-ravaged city. The day before that ruling, the same Trump-appointed judge blocked Trump from using Oregon's National Guard. Portland's mayor and the state's governor, both Democrats, maintain the city is safe. The White House has not commented yet on the judge's decision. Today marks the beginning of Fleet Week in San Francisco, and things are looking a little quieter this year because of the government shutdown. It's not exactly clear if the Blue Angels might fly this weekend, but it is looking unlikely. Same goes for naval ships. But we do know that the Canadian Snowbirds will arrive later this week. The Patriots jet team will also take flight for the air show, as well as the United Airlines 777. And naval ships from Canada and Colombia will be stationed at our piers. Early voting begins today for the state's special election on Prop 50. If it passes, it would redraw some California congressional districts to favor Democrats. The measure aims to counter redistricting efforts in Texas that give Republicans more seats in the House. Prop 50 is the only issue on the ballot for that special election in November. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast as we start off another week of work and school. Here's meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Warm weather is on tap for us as we head into the afternoon hours today everywhere throughout the Bay. From the Santa Clara Valley stretched all the way up into wine country, let's head over into places like Napa. This afternoon we have 80s in store for us, just in time for harvest. It's nice and warm today and tomorrow, and we're continuing that trend to kick off the week. But we have a big cool down around the corner for places like the East Bay, stretched all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley as we head into the rest of this week's forecast. We'll be back down to the 70s right around the corner. It'll feel nice and cool, and I'll talk more about that coming up in just a bit for why that's even happening. But you take a look at some other things going on as we head outside today and tomorrow. We're waking up this morning to some strong winds pushing offshore. That drops the relative humidity. It gives us clear skies, some warmer weather too that we're keeping a close eye on as we head into the afternoon hours near Half Moon Bay and San Francisco. I mean, we're talking about 80s today in the city of San Francisco, matched up with our friends in our inland spots, anywhere from the North Bay down into the Santa Clara Valley. Now, those winds pushing offshore, they start to change directions. We'll start to see stronger onshore winds into the evening hours tonight, and this is good news for us, actually. We'll see a little bit higher relative humidity right around the corner, and then to add to that, as we keep a close eye on daytime highs, yes, it's a warm day today and tomorrow, but it'll feel a lot cooler and a lot more fall-like right around the corner as we head into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with 70s returning into our inland spots. We'll also hold on tight to some cooler weather along the coast too with cloudier skies. There's a chance for some unsettled weather as we wrap up this week. That's the reason why we're seeing partly cloudy skies. A good chance we could see some light mist pushing in the North Bay too. We'll monitor that closely as we wrap up this week with those models updating daily. Back to you.
There has been a successful push to keep a big chain from opening a new franchise in the Mission in San Francisco. Club Pilates has more than 1,300 locations worldwide. And as Amanda Harry reports, local businesses say they think this could negatively impact the independent character of the area.
Walking down Valencia Street, you won't see a McDonald's or a Gap or any other big-name chain stores, but you will see small, independent businesses you can't find anywhere else.
We just really want to keep this international destination local and interesting.
Avi Ehrlich has lived on Valencia Street in the Mission for 2 decades. It appeals to him because of its uniqueness.
This is the longest stretch in the entire country of independently run small businesses that are locally owned by the people right there, literally in the store.
He's one of those people. He owns Silver Sprocket, a comic book store and publishing house, just feet away from an empty storefront on Valencia near 21st Street. One day while walking to work, he noticed the sign about a San Francisco Planning Commission hearing for permitting for Club Pilates to open up in the space.
And they're trying to say that they're not a big chain because it's locally owned and they only have 2 or 3 other locations, but it's like Club Pilates they've over 1,000 locations. Like, that is a chain. Like, you can't just license the Starbucks name and say that you're not a Starbucks.
Carrie Wu thought the hearing was going to be a formality. She already owns 2 Club Pilates in the city, one in Diamond Heights and another that will open in Nopa. Permitting for those was easy, so she was surprised when the planning commissioners denied their permit.
I was kind of in shock because we thought the city really needed business.
But after the Planning Commission received more than a dozen letters in opposition, they voted against it.
I don't think it's really against us. It's probably just about the chains.
San Francisco's planning code requires formula retailers, which are businesses with more than 11 locations, to obtain a conditional use permit to open in the Valencia corridor. Wu and her partner could appeal the commissioner's decision to the Board of Supervisors, but at this point, they've decided against it and the area altogether.
I don't think we are going to look at Valencia again.
Ehrlich is grateful the vote went that way, and Valencia will retain its character.
I was very relieved. We've already successfully prevented an American Apparel from moving in, like a Jack Spade offshoot. Like this has happened a number of times, and the community has always consistently rallied together and said, like, no, I don't want to have a Starbucks and a McDonald's, and you know, I want to keep the interesting. There's a reason I come to Valencia Street, and it's for something different than what I can get at every strip mall across the country.
According to the city's planning code, chain stores are defined as having 11 or more other retail spaces and a recognizable appearance. CBS News has a new editor-in-chief. Barry Weiss is founder of The Free Press, a news and opinion site that started in 2021 after Weiss left the New York Times. Paramount, a Skydance corporation, which is our parent company, will acquire her publication for $150 million in a mix of cash and Paramount stock. Weiss will team up with CBS News president Tom Sabrowski to lead our news coverage. The Free Press has become one of the largest and fastest growing digital media outlets. It has grown subscribers by 86% over the last 12 months. Some Bay Area representation in this year's Nobel Prize announcements. The prize for medicine was announced today in Stockholm. Fred Ramsdell, Mary Brunko, and Shimon Saguchi will share the prize. Ramsdell has Bay Area ties. He is a scientific advisor for Sonoma Biotherapeutics in South San Francisco. The trio won for discovering how the immune system protects us from microbes trying to invade our bodies. Championship baseball has returned to Oakland. The Oakland Ballers and their fans celebrating the team's Pioneer League win with a parade and rally yesterday at City Hall.
Let's go, Oakland! Let's go, Oakland!
Yeah, the Ballers won the championship in just the team's second year of existence. It all started after two A's fans founded the team after their departure from Oakland. Da Lin has more on the city celebration.
Let's go, Oakland! Let's go, Oakland!
It's a celebration of Oakland just as much as a celebration of the Ballers winning their first Pioneer League championship. The team parade around Raimondi Park, where they play their home games in West Oakland.
Amazing, amazing. Like, look at this, look at the community coming together, not only for a game, but just to be here to celebrate with us. It's awesome.
Catcher Tyler Lozano understands why this is such a big deal for Oakland. He grew up in Stockton, and just like Oakland, he says it's a gritty town that fights for everything. He adds, you don't have to be a baseball fan to appreciate what this championship means.
Everyone up here has talked about community, but someone that grew up in Stockton and coming here, I really see what Oakland's about. I really see why you guys build a community and love each other through everything. And being a part of that is super welcoming for myself. I know the team.
Two Oakland A's fans founded the Ballers 2 years ago. They jumped through hoops to put a team together, and few believed they could win it all so quickly. And truly, it was against all odds. In the best-of-5 championship series, the Ballers were down 2 games to none. They came back to win 3 straight and take the title.
Oakland's been counted out since before the beginning. We've always been an underdog, not just in sports, but in life and in community. But people from Oakland know something special about us. We're resilient. We always punch above our weight in terms of culture, in terms of music, in terms of art, and in terms of sports. And the thing about sports is it becomes part of your identity. It becomes part of your pride. And so we delivered a championship. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to remind everybody that this is a city of champions.
It's something the town can rally around, despite losing 3 professional teams and dealing with constant negative headlines.
I mean, it's a start. You know, it's something that we can all come together on and say, hey, we have earned something here. We have a championship.
And this title means a lot to the players, too, many of whom have spent their lives chasing a shot at the major leagues. Tyler's grandmother fought back tears, knowing the journey her 25-year-old grandson has been through.
Very proud. I couldn't be prouder.
Yeah.
Being a tiger.
He's a good boy, and I'm glad he's made it to where he is today.
Tyler says this win is for everyone, himself, his teammates, Oakland, and the fans.
To be able to see my grandparents experience this with me is something that I can cherish forever.
Pretty cool. So what is next for the Ballers? The founders say they're not sure yet. Money is always a big challenge for independent teams like this, but their plan is to come back even stronger, and they're hoping to play a game at the Coliseum if they can make it happen. Well, inside local jails, a group of women is using braids to do more than just style hair.
We meet a lot of different women from a lot of different walks of life, and we hear their stories, and we relate to them.
Next, we are going to introduce you to the Freedom Braiders, how they are weaving culture, healing, and second chances for women behind bars.
We're kicking off this week nice and warm with sunnier skies, clear conditions widespread throughout the Bay Area. Now, heading into the next couple days, we start to see some changes. Tomorrow, high pressure continues to move in just a little bit more, and that's going to warm us up into the 90s in our inland spots. That's the warmest it'll be all week long, because then low pressure starts moving in. That cools us right back down to the 70s. It'll feel like fall as we wrap up this week, heading into this weekend with a little bit more sunshine for Friday, partly cloudy skies Saturday, just in time for Fleet Week. It's going to feel a lot cooler and beautiful as we head into this weekend.
We are continuing to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, and today we're taking a look at braiding. It isn't just a hairstyle, it is heritage to many people with roots in Indigenous and Afro-Latino culture. It connects generations and preserves identities. Now a group of Bay Area women is bringing that legacy behind bars. Our Gianna Franco shows us how they're using braids to uplift incarcerated women with confidence and purpose.
So right now, what I'm doing is called stitch braiding.
D. Honey creates works of art by weaving strands of hair together.
And basically, with every piece of hair that I take in, I'm creating a sharp line to get these stitches.
But for her, it's more than just about a fresh braid for her clients. It's a skill she's sharing with others. D. Honey is a freedom braider.
We meet a lot of different women from a lot of different walks of life, and we hear their stories, and we relate to them.
A small group of volunteers who believe in the healing power of touch and human connection.
It's not just learning how to braid, it's building relationships, and it's a lot of healing that happens in the classroom.
A classroom that is happening in the San Francisco County Jail and Santa Rita Jail in Alameda County.
Braiding is a really valuable skill. It's something that you can make money off of legitimately, so why not give these people a skill that they can use when they get outside.
And what do you take away from it when you walk away after teaching in the jails?
After teaching in the jails, it feels like I have purpose. With being a braider and having a full day of clientele, I kind of got to a point where I was like, well, now what's next? And being in the jails makes me feel like I'm doing something greater than just doing hair. I'm doing something that's bigger than me.
One of the braiders said you can give someone a comb in a jail and that will keep them alive and free.
Joanna and her daughter Tatiana founded Freedom Braiders a year ago.
I want to say braiding has been part of our lives for a long time. I mean, my mom used to braid my hair in fishbone braids, which is like 4 strands. I mean, what really inspired is really seeing that there's not enough programming inside the jails for men and women. I have a brother who's incarcerated, so, anything we do inside the jails, we do it 10 times for everyone.
They also believe that teaching a skill can give someone dealing with difficult circumstances a second chance.
One of the braiders said it, this is your crown, and when you have someone touching your hair, there's all these also spirituality and cultural practices when it comes to touching someone's hair. And so the women have said, like, thank you for being gentle with me. Thank you for touching my crown and making me feel beautiful.
Especially in a place where personal identity and expression are stripped away. For some of the Freedom Braiders and women they teach, braiding is also a reminder of culture and family.
In the Indigenous practices, they say healing one strand at a time through mind, body, and spirit. So everything we do is through culture.
Do you have a favorite braid?
Anything with color, anything like this. Anytime that I get to use different colored hair and tinsel and glitter, I have fun with it. It feels more like an art project than it is braiding.
An opportunity that allows her to weave together hope and community, one strand at a time.
Dee Honey is also an award-winning braider and barber. And this Sunday in Concord, Joanna and Tatiana are going to be part of a student barber expo featuring some of the Freedom Braiders. Well, you can check out our 30-minute special, Una Familia, airing on October 16th, 7:30 p.m., hosted by Gianna and Len Ramirez. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area, what goes into the perfect burger? We're going to introduce you to some Bay Area dads on a mission to find out using the power of math.
Warmer weather, stronger winds into this afternoon, actually, in places like Half Moon Bay. Currently, we're dealing with winds pushing offshore. That dries us up. It warms us up a little bit more, too. Relative humidity drops, but we'll start to get that Pacific breeze into the afternoon hours today from Half Moon Bay into places like the Golden Gate Bridge across San Francisco, where we can see winds starting to kick up a bit more. It'll feel a little bit more moist into the evening hours tonight. And I think that's important to note because as we continue to warm up, we want to see that Pacific breeze stick around for us. By Wednesday and Thursday, suddenly we're talking about clouds returning into the forecast, especially in the early morning hours. So foggy starts to the morning, partly cloudy skies into the afternoon. Cooler weather as we get closer to Fleet Week as well. And then you make your way over into our inland spots. We're not done warming up just yet. Tomorrow's going to be even warmer than today. 90s in the forecast on tap for us, sunny skies, and then low pressure dips in. We cool down quick. 70s around the corner from Wednesday into Thursday. That's going to stick around for us as we head into this weekend's forecast with on and off partly cloudy skies right around the corner too.
Well, people might have different opinions on what goes into the perfect burger, but a group of dads in the North Bay got it down to a mathematical equation. Members of the Marin Burger Club told our Itai Hod it is a serious job, but somebody's got to do it.
Once a month, a bus full of dads makes its way through the winding country roads of Northern California, driven by a single obsession.
Gentlemen, get your jackets. We're starting to walk up there.
Finding the perfect burger.
3 6/8.
Yair Levine is one of the founders of the Marin Burger Club, a group that bills itself as the most data-driven burger association in the world.
More than anything, it's a silly, silly topic that we take very, very seriously. Here's our house, Dillon Burger.
This time, they're checking out Coastal Kitchen, a restaurant in Dillon Beach, where Chef Zachary Yegas is serving up his famous Quarter Pounder.
We have sauteed mushroom onion with garlic, crispy bacon on top, and then we're just cooking it to perfection.
In the last 12 years, they've tasted more than 1,500 burgers. But tonight, they're trying to break the world record for the biggest burger evaluation in history. 54 dads measuring everything from the patty to the fries using a patented tool they call the Burger Majigger.
What I like to do is kind of squeeze that.
Jason Vanderbrand, tech exec by day, burger judge by night.
This is an exceptional burger.
Says this club isn't so much about the beef as it is about the bonding.
More than anything, we now know each other as a community, as a bunch of dads that are raising our children together.
They don't accept freebies or discounts. Everything here is paid in cash. Once the measuring is done, Jeff Mylan, the club's chief technology officer, crunches the numbers. A final score.
New top 10, 9th place!
And after all is said and done,
hot buns and fresh meat.
The only thing they take to go can't be boxed or bagged. It's the friendships they relish.
So you might be wondering, where do they find the best burgers? According to their website, the burgers at Buckeye Roadhouse in Mill Valley, Bungalow Kitchen in Tiburon, and Inverness Tap Room are among those that made the cut in its Hall of Flame. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.